It's the 9th of April and I'm Tom Glasson. Welcome to The Roast. Now, to celebrate Tony Abbott heading to China, we are broadcasting tonight from our studios in Beijing. So let's open up a window and check out this beautiful city. Tonight on The Roast, Tony Abbott heads to China for yet another round of free trade deals, and minor party senators demand additional staff. But while we get in someone here to shovel up the air, Mark Humphries has the headlines.
Clive Palmer, the political equivalent of a whoopee cushion, was interviewed by Sarah Ferguson on ABC's 7:30 last night. It's hard to believe, but in a few months, this beach ball will have the balance of power in the Senate, and all government decisions will hinge on his trademark thumbs up. And with his newfound influence, Clive says he's already received a couple of text messages from government ministers with a clear agenda.
And what were they asking precisely?
Lunch.
Sure, Clive has the balance of power, but more importantly, he'll have the crab tortellini.
And precisely about your voting intentions, have they asked you about those yet?
No, I don't think that interests them at all, really, but they just want to take me out for lunch.
Now, that may be true, but I can see how Clive might have misinterpreted the minister's texts.
Clive, how will you be voting on the carbon tax repeal?
Did you say lunch?
No.
Lunch?
And on the question of campaign spending in WA, Palmer showed he's across all the details.
So how much in the Senate rerun? Give me a figure if you would.
I don't know. My wife does all the accounts, not me.
And while he's at it, Clive would like to remind Australia that it's his first day, his dog ate his homework, and sorry, he doesn't speak English. In his defence, though, it does sound like his wife's got some common sense, because according to Clive...
She doesn't vote for me. She votes for other parties.
If only there was some sort of Palmer United Party to unite the Palmers. When questioned why Palmer United Party candidate Dio Wang had differing views to him on the renewable energy target, Clive had a simple explanation. His candidate didn't know what he was talking about.
Well, he didn't know it was mandatory, you know. He's only a civilian, now he's a senator. So he didn't realise it was mandatory. When I explained to him it was mandatory, he said, oh, no, it wasn't, was it? So he didn't want that to happen.
Sounds like Dio was really shocked. I think we have footage of that moment he realised the renewable energy target was mandatory.
Oh, man. Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, God.
But since Sarah Ferguson's skull contains a functioning brain, she questioned why Dio Wang would enter politics if he doesn't understand policies.
It shows a poor understanding of the system that he was talking about, and he was asking to be elected on his knowledge of at least that policy, amongst others.
Well, there you are. He was elected and he's there for 6 years.
In other words, yes, my candidate's an idiot, but he's an elected idiot, so what are you going to do about it? For The Roast, I'm Mark Humphries.
Thank you, Mark. Well, first up tonight, we continue our coverage of Tony Abbott's Asian Free Trade Tour, which kicked off in Japan on Monday. Now, if you missed that segment on our show yesterday, don't worry, I have iView. Last night saw Australia and Japan sign a landmark free trade agreement, which is either a key economic platform or a plan to liberate a political prisoner named Trideh Agreement. Yeah, it turns out it was actually an economic platform, so bad luck for Trideh. But that agreement was a big win for the Prime Minister, his advisors and the billionaire entourage he's been travelling with, including Kerry Stokes, James Packer and Andrew Twiggy Forrest. Three men so wealthy their carry-on luggage on a plane is a spare plane. Still, the Japanese Free Trade Agreement was an important deal that took 7 years to finalise and has huge implications for the future. On behalf of Australia, Tony Abbott swung for the fence and hit a home run. Definitely cause for celebrating on his flight out of Japan.
Sayonara, suckers! Hey, Tony, I just want to say, terrific work today. No, mate, you rest your voice. You got a lot of talking to do tomorrow. Sorry, have you got any of those shitty headphones?
But not happy with just one home run. Yesterday, Tony Abbott stepped back up to the plate, pointed to the wall, and knocked a second free trade agreement right out of the park with South Korea!
You're a soul man! Ba-da-boo, can we get an ice pack for his wrist? He's been signing up a storm all day. Thanks. 2 down, 1 more to go. You've got to keep your mind sharp. So, how about we put our minds together and do the... Some bastard's already done the crossword.
Doesn't matter. Tony's 2 from 2, so hitting a third one should be as easy as... Jesus. Well, maybe not, because China's a little bit different. Something Julie Bishop experienced when she visited Beijing last year.
Australia's foreign minister was the first to bear the brunt of the Asian giant's anger. On a visit to the Chinese capital, Julie Bishop sat down with her counterpart for what are normally pleasantries in front of the media. But with the cameras rolling, Wang Yi let her have it.
Yeah, he did. One foreign affairs official even called it the rudest conduct seen in 30 years. So let's see that smackdown.
What Australia has said and done with regard to China's air defence identification zone has jeopardised bilateral mutual trust and affected the sound growth of bilateral relations.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like much, but in diplomatic terms, that is about as rude as you can get before you start a war. So Bishop got slammed during the part of diplomacy where you're just meant to smile for the cameras and awkwardly shake hands for an unnatural period of time. Fair to say, China's not going to be so easy.
The free trade agreement is a big deal, and it's going to be a hard one because, I mean, China is very good at signing deals in its own favour.
So what's the game plan now?
Hey, look, I can see you're a little stressed about the crossword and China, but don't worry. You see down there? That's Beijing. Can't see a thing through that smog. They don't care about the environment either. This is a friendly place for us. Rest up, big guy. We've got a big day tomorrow.
Yeah, yes he does, because according to one expert, much of China's problem with us is that Australia is viewed as America's lackey, you know, always doing what it says.
He thinks Tony Abbott has a challenge convincing President Xi Jinping that Australia has a mind of its own.
Mind of its own? Well, Tony Abbott certainly has a mind of his own. Remember when he reintroduced knights and dames? No one told him to do that. No one had even considered that before him. He was literally the only person who thought that was a good idea, but he still did it because he has a mind of his own. And besides, Americans aren't the only ones trying to influence Abbott. There are also billionaires like James Packer, who has some ideas he'd like Abbott to agree with in his own independent mind. For example, Packer has eyes on new casino ventures in Japan and South Korea. He's also pushing for the Australian government to relax visa rules to make it easier for Chinese tourists to visit Australia. And even though Packer has an exclusive spot on Abbott's Asia tour and will have the opportunity to spend a lot of alone time with the Prime Minister, there's no need to worry about undue influence because remember, Tony Abbott, own independent mind.
So we're getting close to the tarmac, Tony. You're still looking a little jumpy. You could do with a scotch. Me and Packer, we could do with easier visa entry for Chinese high rollers to play in our casinos. But that's not on the menu, is it? Or is it?
No, it isn't. That independent mind is only thinking about knights and dames, and possibly now Chinese visas. But there is one silver lining for China-Australia relations.
Despite moments of mistrust, the hunt for a missing Malaysian passenger jet has shown that large-scale cooperation is possible between China and Australia.
So just so long as there are regular instalments of terrible human tragedies involving crashed planes, one day the dream of a trade agreement might be achievable. No, I didn't mean that plane. No, I didn't mean that plane. We'll be back in a sec.
Thanks, Tom. Hey guys, why don't you take a moment to go to the Roast Twitter and answer tonight's question. Has a trade deal you tried to broker ever benefited from human disaster? As a result, did you end up agreeing on terms in the spirit of cooperation between your two great nations? If so, tweet us a picture of you at your International Trade Summit because we'd love to see it. At the Roast TV or hashtag RoastTV.
Next up tonight, the minor party senators, also known as the senators that prove a dare in a pub really can lead to impossible power, are calling for extra staff to help them sift through the large volume of legislation they are likely to face. Because God knows, as professional politicians, they shouldn't have to read those documents themselves. Family First Senator Bob Day, seen here in the library pissing everyone off, proposed a shared crossbench secretariat to Senate leader Eric Abetz, who said he would consider it. Nick Xenophon and John Madigan, however, have criticised the idea, saying they don't need a shared resource, they need advisors who advise you individually. We already have a shared resource, it's called the Parliamentary Library. To which many of the new senators replied, oh, you mean Bob Day's jam room? And if Senator Abetz agrees to the proposal and grants the senators a shared secretariat who is more capable and understands the political system better than the actual senators, well, that person might find it a bit frustrating. It'd be like trying to explain to your dad how to use Microsoft Excel.
Now select from cell C4 down to cell C7. C4. C4. Okay, now good. Now right click. Right. With your right finger.
Every finger on this hand's a right finger.
The right of the mouse. Yep, you've just launched Skype.
Hey, someone's trying to Skype me. Should I? No, okay, I'll get it later. So is giving the minor parties a few extra staff members to help out such a bad idea?
No, Tom, it's a fair idea. All senators, regardless of whether they're from a major party or a minor one, should have access to staff so they can do their job to the utmost.
I think that is a well-considered and rational argument from you.
Although I do feel that these staff will mainly be there to teach totally unprepared senators how legislation gets passed, what legislation is, how to spell legislation.
Yeah, and Clive Palmer's actually asking for extra resources by arguing that with Ricky Muir's allegiance, he qualifies as a parliamentary party.
And he's right, Tom. 5 people does make a party of 5. A fact I learnt from watching that famous 90s TV show, Regulations about what constitutes an Australian political party. ABC2 run repeats of it right after My Mother is a Sex Ghost. But if the extra staff to help the new senators are approved, it does mean we'll have to introduce a new character to the roast's long-running, yet-to-be-commissioned children's political cartoon, Lammy and the Brick.
It's Lammy, Lammy and the Brick.
And bang!
And introducing their Senate staffer.
The guy who knows what's going on.
And that electrified brainy pencil will be one of the most qualified people in the Senate.
Yeah, and one of the busiest. Because if they share a parliamentary resource, that poor staffer will have to explain to all the minority senators how to do their job.
So, boys and girls, the Australian Parliament is made up of 2 houses. Any questions so far? Yes, family first.
Why is there 2 houses?
It's 2 houses like when people get divorced, they have to live in 2 houses before going to hell, obviously.
What's a bill?
Okay, motoring enthusiast party. The bill is like a car, okay, and has to get a green light from both houses before it can go.
So why do the houses have green lights?
No, they don't. That's a traffic light. I'll come back to you. Yes, Palm United Party?
My house has a yellow light.
That's good. That's good.
And with Wang not understanding the RET, Ricky Muir being filmed throwing kangaroo poo around, and David Lionhelm wanting Australians to carry guns, you'd think it might just be easier for the person hired to help them be a senator just to do the job themselves.
You know, with your lack of knowledge combined, you'd almost make one good senator.
Family!
Mining!
Brum Brums!
Go
Senate!
We're the Senators. You can be one too. Blocking legislation is the thing to do.
The power is yours! Clive Palmer. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, God, no. Oh, no.
Go